Good morning. I have just returned from a month away, and it's so nice to be back and see you all.
And we can tell by your tan.
You can. It's really makeup, but it is the rainiest day out, I have to say. So you're the highlight of my day because outside is just April showers times 100, I think. So we have a very important guest today. We'll get to her soon, but let's catch up a little bit. What you been doing? You hit show in Woods Hole.
It was so much fun. Yeah, we just finished the show One Slight Hitch by Lewis Black, the comedian. And I had a great cast of 7, and we were full almost every night, so it was terrific. Very funny show, very good for March. And grateful that in the month of March, Woods Hole was teeming with people.
It was?
It was teeming.
Wow.
So exciting.
That is exciting. You mentioned a little statistic about your box office sales that I
Yes,
thought was very exciting.
Thank you. It was the 3rd largest box office draw next to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Amazing.
Not
That's
bad.
great.
Wow.
That's
years
great.
ago, though. So you're
They
the,
were- yeah,
you're
so-
the hit within the decade.
It's kind
Yeah.
of fun. Right? Kind of fun.
That's great. That's
It was
great.
a fun show. I think people need to have a little bit of fun, get out of their heads and make silliness. And Lewis Black, I saw him in concert, or if that's what you call a comedian. I saw his show, and he kind of called me out on stage as directing his show.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, which is so cool. And then I contacted him, and he sent me the video of it, so I put it on all our press. And then he actually checked in twice during the show to see how we were doing. Because in his video, he said, "Oh, good luck with that, lady. There's only 6 people in Woods Hole this time of year. Who go for that godforsaken tundra?"
Did you write
of
it
Cape
back
Cod?
and say, surprise, surprise?
Oh, I sent him the numbers.
Oh,
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, my son loves Lewis Black, so we've seen him in
Yeah.
concert a couple of times.
Yeah.
He shouts.
He's a shouter. There were no middle fingers in my show.
Okay. Very nice, very nice. Speaking of shows, another one's coming up this weekend in Woods Hole that you're participating in.
No, I did the one last month.
You
This
did?
is-
Oh,
this is a new
okay.
Tales and
This is a
Anecdotes.
new one.
Yeah, Tales and Anecdotes, which is a storytelling. It's our 3rd one. It's been going really well. We have 8 new tellers. Well, actually, I'm a rerun. I filled in because one of the tellers couldn't do it at the last minute. So there's 8 tellers. Everybody tells a compelling 10-minute story. And we're in our 3rd round, and we've always sold out. So we're excited about that.
You did it
Last month.
And what was your compelling story?
I told a story about a man who created a video game about cancer.
It was a really great story.
Oh.
It sounds awful. Like who would ever want to play a video
No,
game about
it's a great
cancer? But
story.
it's a beautiful story. The game is called That Dragon Cancer, and he wrote it when his son was dying of cancer.
Oh.
But his comment, the takeaway is that we must love as much as we can until time runs out.
It was a beautiful story.
That is beautiful.
I
We should
videotaped
love-
it. It's on my Facebook page.
That's how you
Oh,
do
it
the
is?
game?
Oh, okay. I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, it's
Speaking of theater, what's going on at the Katuitt Center for the Arts coming up?
Well, we have Kentucky Derby coming up in the first weekend of May,
Yay,
May 6th. You should
yeah.
come. Have you ever been, Betsy?
I haven't ever
Are
been.
you a gambler? You seem like one.
Yeah, oh, I do. I'm a big gambler, $10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The penny slots.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
It's a really funny. It's so much fun. We have a hat parade. There's all sorts of games that you can play, and of course we stream the Derby live on our big
fun.
screen. And there's snacks
And the cast of nonsense on
Yep.
bouncy horses in a race.
No, that's
In our
that's
own
our
mock
we have a horse
derby.
race. Yeah, we have a mock derby. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. In fact, Christine, we have to actually see if those bouncy things are working this year.
Oh, we'll have to test them,
We have to
Tracy.
blow them up every year and then test them out around the
that's
parking
right.
lot.
I want to see that video.
Yeah, that's well. Yeah, well. Speaking of which, ask Christine about her scooters.
Oh,
I saw the scooter.
I have a scooter to get around campus at Katuitt Center for the Arts. It's a big campus, and I often have to get from one building way in one corner of the campus all the way to a classroom at the front of campus. So I have.
Now I want a video
Yeah.
of that.
Oh,
I'm
there are
awesome on a
videos.
scooter.
Are
David
you?
has a scooter now, and our box office manager Jason has a scooter. We're starting a movement.
A regular scooter that you
scooter-
pedal with one
scooter
foot, or
Katuitt.
you need
Yep.
a Segway.
Oh,
What'd you
no,
say?
No, this is a Scooty Katuitt. It's a kick scooter. It's for
Okay.
adults. It's rated for 225 pounds, so I'm right at the threshold.
Yeah. Hey, are you kidding? You're the fastest one on that thing. I decided I'm going to go out one day and try it out. I can't keep up with her. 5 minutes and my legs sore.
That's
Yeah, and it's good, good
Yeah, it's
exercise.
It is
quite a
good
workout.
exercise.
You can get an adult scooter on eBay for $30.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I might
upgrade
look
to some
into that.
handbrakes
I don't
soon.
know. Last year I got a she shed because of you. Now I'm
Oh,
going to get a
no,
scooter.
you need a scooter.
We need
I got-
more scooters, ladies and gentlemen.
I got
More
my daughter a
scooters.
scooter, and she's in Brooklyn, and she needs one to get around the city, so she has a city scooter.
Right. Well, my grandchildren are in Manhattan, and they scoot up and down. It scares me to death.
But they
because-
fold up and go in a backpack,
Right.
get in the train, yeah.
Right.
It's more fun than a bike,
Very cool.
That's great.
portable.
Christine said you were drinking something fascinating that called mud.
I want to say yes, it's a martini.
I-
yeah, but it's,
Only.
yeah, it's
What are you-
not.
what are
Well,
you
do you
drinking?
want to see it?
I think, I don't
Yeah,
know.
well,
What's the point
Every
of it?
morning.
Okay,
Oh,
there it
A
is.
quart.
Excuse
a
me.
quart
Yeah,
of
go ahead
this-
and look
Can
at
we
it.
do a
Mud.
close-up on this mud? What
I
is
didn't.
this
I didn't plan for it
for?
to be on TV. I guess I could
Do you have
have
to
made it a little
floss after you
prettier.
drink this?
Well, so there's technique to that. So I drink this every morning. I usually have it on set here, but it's under my chair or over there, behind or off. So today, there it is. This one is kale. It's always kale. I think kale is actually, in my book, it's healthier than spinach, but people go back and forth.
It's popular now.
It's popular. I've been doing it for about 9 months every day. And I put 2 or 3 cups of kale in it, however much I can fit in there. Different fruit. This has cherries and blueberries, flaxseed, water, and almond milk. Look at Christine's face. She's clearly going to have one.
Oh,
And this
I'm
one.
cutting up the expense. This is what it's like if you're putting cherries and blueberries. This is what is this? Six
I
bucks?
use
$40 smoothie.
Yeah, well, no, I use the frozen because then it actually makes the smoothie cold. You know, the frozen acts like
Oh,
ice
that's not a
cubes.
bad idea.
Yeah, and then sometimes I do banana and peanut butter. Have you ever seen powdered peanut butter? The powdered peanut butter, you shake it in there and it doesn't have the fat from the oil. So I do one every morning, and I have to tell you that I had a very big birthday a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you did.
And
Happy
I went to the
birthday.
doctor for my
21.
normal. Exactly, right? I can drink.
Yeah.
And of course, this is what I drink.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to the doctor and I had blood drawn, you know, the normal every year checkup. And my doctor called me and said, "Your blood is perfect." I'm 50 years old. I've never been on a medication. I am not on a medication now, and I think it's those things because they keep, you know, they keep you where you want to be. They're super healthy.
Well,
Yeah, so there's
I
my
would just
commercial.
beg of you to bring us all a little sip next time.
You want to try it next time?
Yeah.
This one has cocoa powder in it. That's why it looks
Oh,
darker. The
okay.
blueberries and the cocoa powder. Cocoa powder is a really great antioxidant, as is blueberries.
Right.
So this is super, super healthy stuff.
I'm
And
sure.
it tastes great. And I don't
Does-
have to
does it
floss
make
as long
you
as I
gassy or
blend it.
anything?
No, nothing like
that's
that.
Sometimes you don't have to
Kale?
look at it.
It's very
Right.
appealing color.
Maybe if it were like
Drinking.
an opaque container with a straw.
Right, maybe I
it would
should,
be-
right. I could put it, maybe for spring I'll put like a little pink one or something. Like it won't, you know, you won't
Or
be
you
able
could
to-
pretend it
I
was
don't know.
iced coffee.
Right,
or
right, I
something.
could put it
It
in a...
just looks a little volcanic.
Or like a dirty apple.
Yeah, isn't that funny? I know. So there it is. So now I'm going to hide it again because
yeah.
it is
Hey,
scaring
Drink
everybody.
has legs, not like wine.
Right. Exactly.
Before I introduce our next guest, well, I've been in Florida, as I told you, for an extended period of time. And the best part of being in Florida, besides the weather, was that everything is green and everything is blooming. And it really, for me, makes a difference because I am convinced I suffer from seasonal affective disorder. But the one thing I kept remembering when I was in Florida was that when we got back, we had C.L. Fenari, who is a very, very well-known personality, not just here on the Cape, but everywhere. And we'll be back in a second to introduce her.
Yay.
So, CL, I have to tell you and you guys, when I moved to the Cape about 5 or 6 years ago, my sister, who's an avid gardener, sent me a book called The Cape Cod Gardener. I read it cover to cover, and I still just pick it up and look at it, and never knew that I was going to know the author of the book. So it's really exciting to me and to my sister for you to be here today. CL And I read in her bio that she often tells people that CL stands for compost lover.
That's right. I have my radio audience convinced that it stands for compost lover, so we'll leave it at that.
You are a writer, a radio personality, a blogger, a garden consultant for Hyannis Country Gardens. What else are you to make us feel?
And a speaker. I speak all over the country about plants and gardening.
I
so.
noticed that. I was looking at your schedule of events last night, and we're very lucky to have you here today because you're very busy in the upcoming months, I see.
I love talking about plants and gardening. It all serves to put a somewhat legitimate framework around a serious case of plant lust. So.
Well, you're talking about real hydrangeas today, which, as you
That's
said
right.
to me, everybody's favorite Cape Cod flower, or one of the favorites.
That's right.
So tell us, are we having hydrangeas this year?
Well, the jury is still out. The problem, of course, with our blue flowering hydrangeas is that they form their flower buds the year before. And so if it gets too cold, then those flower buds get zapped by the cold temperatures and we don't have flowers. And too cold is usually in the single digits or below. If it goes below freezing in the winter on the Cape, that's usually a no hydrangea summer following that winter. This past winter, we had a very, very mild winter, except for on 2 occasions, the temperature went down in the single digits. Now, was that enough to kill all of the hydrangea buds? Probably not. Did it kill some of them? Probably so. If I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, I would say this summer will have mixed hydrangea flowering. Some people will have good flowering, some people will have okay flowering, and a few plants will have no flowers. So.
Well, last year people were saying no hydrangeas, right? Last summer?
Last year there were not many hydrangea flowers
We had 2
because
blooms.
we had a weekend where the temperature went below 0.
Do you know, I had a ton.
We had 2.
Some people,
You
I
had
had a
a ton?
ton.
some
yeah.
people
Wow.
did. Some people did. I drove out to Dennis one time last summer, and on a property there was this huge hydrangea border in full flower. And compared to what most of us had last summer, it looked like Disneyland. You know? And I thought, yeah, how did this go? How did this happen, right?
Right.
We had 2 hydrangea blooms last summer, but we had tons, masses and masses of white ones.
Well, the white ones bloom on new growth. See, the white ones are a different plant. Both the white Annabelle and the white hydrangea paniculatas, they do not make flower buds the year before. So it doesn't matter how cold it gets in the summer, because they don't start making flower buds until April and May.
Oh,
So they will always flower,
Right.
no matter what.
So is there something about the soil that makes the colors richer or no? My husband's a bit of a backyard landscaper guy.
Yeah.
And he says that there's some sort of, is it acidity or not?
Well, it's the acidity and alkalinity that determines whether the mophead hydrangeas are blue or pink.
Yeah.
In acid soil, they will be blue. In alkaline soil, they will be pink, but not the richness, okay? The
Yeah,
richness
so
is a
light.
genetic quality.
You have to
So a
purchase
light
that.
blue hydrangea, a Nico blue, or an endless summer hydrangea that is light blue in acid soil and light pink in alkaline soil, it's only going to be light blue or light pink. It's never going to be dark blue, no matter what you do,
I
never.
want you to know that at
That's
my house,
interesting.
a normal Saturday morning is, CL says.
yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's
Can you talk about pruning hydrangeas? Because even
That's a
though
good
I've
question.
taken your workshop
Yeah.
at Hyannis Country Garden, I still have trouble with that.
Well, first of all, if somebody goes to my website, which is gardenlady.com, and searches on pruning hydrangeas, they will not only find an article about it, but a downloadable PDF
Oh, nice.
that with the drawings that kind of show you,
Oh,
okay?
perfect.
I have that.
But basically, for pruning both lace caps and the mophead hydrangeas, the blue and the pink ones, you can't go wrong by just taking off what's dead. okay?
In the fall?
No, in May.
Right,
In
okay.
May, once the buds start to swell and open, you can clearly see, okay, this cane doesn't have any green buds on it, that gets off. This cane only has little black buds on it or brown buds.
Yeah, I have those.
Those are toast.
Already they're toast?
Well, you can't know it yet. This is
Oh,
only
okay,
April.
good, because I can
right?
see the black
It's-
things.
Yeah, but if they're black, that's not a good sign. Okay, that's not a good sign. But don't make that call until mid-May. In mid-May, if they're still black in mid-May, they're toast. And you'll see new growth coming up from the base. If those buds have not opened by mid-May, those canes can go. After that, you don't do anything. Any cane that has green leaves or buds on it, you do not cut down.
Yeah.
You leave, all right? And there is no such thing as making a hydrangea shorter. This is where people go wrong.
That's
This is where people go wrong. They say, well, they're up above the windows, I have to prune them down. There's no such thing as doing that. And we have a picture that we'll put up of a big round hydrangea that every year somebody neatened up by cutting the twigs back, right? And in the summer, it ends up being just as tall, a big green dome of leaves with only a few flowers around the outside.
Guilty.
And that's because they replace their growth in one summer. So that hydrangea, doesn't matter when you cut it back, by July it will be just as tall. And the more you cut it back, the fewer flowers you'll have. So you'll end up with that green dome of leaves and only a few flowers.
When I was first a homeowner, I had a beautiful large hydrangea bush that I trimmed into a beautiful, every fall, I trimmed into a beautifully
Right.
shaped shrub
Right.
that never had any flowers.
That's
And I
right.
thought, and then I thought that my hydrangea was like a holly tree, like it needed like a male
Oh,
hydrangea,
okay, right.
like the male hydrangeas in order to get flowers.
Right.
And I thought it
Things
was,
you
I
do.
had, and then, but every fall I was out there.
That's right. Well, I have a slogan that for my radio audience, and I say, don't fall down. In other words, don't cut those hydrangeas down in the fall, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Don't, the only pruning on those hydrangeas you should do is taking off dead wood. Otherwise, you leave it alone.
And that should be done mid-May.
Mid-May, when you can clearly see what has made it through the winter and what hasn't. That's right.
So I have a hydrangea bush that's huge now, huge, and I keep wanting to cut it in the summer just because it's encroaching on a walkway. But you're saying don't
If
touch
it's
it.
encroaching on a walkway, the canes that are moving toward the walkway, you can remove those and, you know, cut them off at ground level just to kind of push it back a little.
Right.
But basically, if a hydrangea is too big for its location, you should move it. Because there's no keeping them smaller, reducing their, you know,
Husband does, yeah.
if it's too big for the location, move it someplace else.
And best season for moving.
And best time to move is probably the spring, April or May, yeah.
Now, this part of April?
Yeah, anytime now.
Oh, okay.
Is good in terms of moving a hydrangea. And the beauty is that there are so many new varieties of hydrangeas that are smaller that you could put a different type of hydrangea in that location and not have to fight its size. There's a City Line series that stays under 3 feet. There are forever and ever plants that stay under 4 feet. So there are any number of hydrangeas now that stay smaller. That we don't have to, you know, make that choice of cutting them back and having no flowers. So,
Okay.
I have another question.
yeah.
The location, sun, shade, part sun, part shade. My leaves sometimes look very brown or burnt.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the brown and burnt leaves. We'll get to that in a minute. But the
Okay.
ideal location for the blue and pink hydrangeas is morning sun and afternoon shade, or early morning sun and late afternoon sun, but shade in midday. And these plants will tolerate full sun, but the flowers don't last long in full sun. And you'll see all those beautiful hedges of hydrangeas out in Chatham, for example, that are in front of these big seaside homes, and they're filled with blue flowers in July and look so gorgeous. By mid-August, those flowers are brown. They're toast because they're out in full sun. But my hydrangeas in my garden that get either early morning sun or late afternoon sun, the flowers last into October. So you should have nice blue-gray hydrangeas September and October as long as they're not in too much sun. Now, the browning leaves could be two things. Number one, we have to take the hydra part of the hydrangea's name seriously.
Water.
These are thirsty plants. That's right, these are thirsty plants. And it's good to put them together with other hydrangeas so that those are areas that get watered a little more often. It is good to amend the soil every year by dumping a bag of composted manure around each plant. And that helps.
One bag per plant?
One bag per plant, all around the outside of the plant. Yeah, be really generous with it.
Okay.
And particularly if you have sandy soil.
I have like 100.
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna say.
well, I'd say go on
you need a cow,
like a
is what you
time, yeah, that would be good. Horse manure is free from stables if you feel like shoveling. Or what I would do is, you know, this year you do maybe 20 of them, and next year you do another 20, and yeah.
I felt a little overwhelmed.
What about seaweed? My grandfather used to go
Seaweed
down
is a
and collect
great
seaweed.
soil amendment,
Do you have to
absolutely.
wash it, the salt
No,
off?
you don't have to wash the salt
That's a
off. The
myth.
amount of salt is negligible.
Okay.
But what you do have to do is be careful when you're collecting it. Because I do remember the time that my husband borrowed somebody's truck, went to the beach in Falmouth, loaded up on seaweed, came home, we're shoveling it into the garden, and crabs are running everywhere. He brought home, and so then I felt compelled to go around with a bucket and collect them so that we could
Rescue
take
them.
them home to the ocean.
That's very funny. That's very funny.
So be careful.
Okay, no crabs.
My grandfather used to plant a new plant with a dead fish. In
Absolutely,
Oh.
that's a fine thing, and as long as you don't have raccoons and
Or
cats
cats.
and that are going to come and
yeah.
dig up the dead fish. That's right. But seaweed is wonderful soil amendment. Chopped up leaves, wonderful soil amendment. If you've got oak leaves, run them over with a lawnmower and use those around your
And just put them
hydrangeas.
down, you don't have to dig them
Absolutely.
into the
You
ground?
do not have to
That's
dig them
good.
into the ground. Now, let me talk a little bit more about those browned leaves.
Yeah.
First of all, watering with hydrangeas deeply less often, okay, is better than a little every other day. Don't have an automatic irrigation system that goes off every other day for 20 minutes. That's the worst kind of watering for any plant, whether it is a shrub or a tree or a lawn.
Okay.
It's the worst
Good
thing
to
you
know.
can do because you're only dampening the soil this much. So having a system that comes on for an hour and a half every 5 days is much more preferable. Deeply weekly is our motto for watering.
I like that,
Okay.
deeply weekly.
Deeply weekly.
Wow. Well, you know, I have root rot on my lawn. I have to confess.
Well, you're watering too much.
And I feel really bad about it because I live in this neighborhood full of fabulous lawns, and so
Oh, you're that house.
we're that, and we are that. Yeah, we're that
Make
house.
sure that your irrigation, do you have an irrigation system?
We do.
Yeah, and it's probably going off too frequently.
It is.
You don't want it going off any more regularly than every 5 days, okay?
Even in the height of July.
Even
when
in
it's
the
hot?
height of July. If you're watering deeply weekly,
Mm-hmm.
you're watering deeply down in the soil, so the roots are going to be deep,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're watering every day or every other day, the top stays wet and gives you root rot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're only dampening the soil this much, so you end up with a shallow root system.
You're talking about grass?
I'm talking about
Grass.
everything.
Really?
My gardens
dear.
get watered every 7 days. Done. All right?
How long?
2.5 hours. I use a sprinkler that goes like this. So
Okay, that's good to know.
the
That's
amount of
different.
time varies according to how much water your system delivers. So everybody wants a formula. They want me to say,
Right.
Yeah.
this
Right.
often, this amount of
Deeply
time.
weekly.
I can't do that because some systems deliver more. Some sprinklers deliver
Right,
more.
Right.
So you have to figure out with a rain gauge, not a cottage cheese carton, not a tuna fish can,
Right,
a real
Carol.
rain gauge.
This is costing us money, you know.
I got that
And you
Or-
put that rain gauge where you can measure the water that's being delivered.
Okay, sure.
Right.
All right. and you want between 3/4 and an inch of water once a week, every 7 days.
Even when there's full sun beating down
Even
on
with the
your
full
lawn?
sun, even with sandy soil, even the lawn.
Wow, that
Yes,
is
yes,
really,
yes.
really different.
Deep roots.
And what about
Yes.
time of day? Can you talk to me about that? Because
Well,
my husband
morning
has
is
a
the
theory.
best time, not at
Before
night.
sunlight comes?
Well, any time from, I would say, 5 o'clock on,
Okay.
but never in the evening and never at night.
And never on Sunday.
Well,
never
that's
at noon?
because it keeps the, if you water at night, it keeps foliage wet
Wet,
all
yeah.
night, and that's a prescription for leaf spot disease. So, which hydrangeas, by the way, are prone to.
That's what I have then,
If you have black spots on your hydrangea leaves, you're watering too frequently.
every day.
Yeah, see, that's a.
Never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Yeah, that's
again.
the worst way to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Now, we gotta get back to those brown
Yeah.
leaves because there is a new pest on the Cape.
Oh.
And this is probably the first time it's being mentioned on television, so
Oh.
listen up.
Wow.
Listen
Breaking
up,
story.
we have breaking news here.
And it's not about Donald Trump.
This is breaking news
Still
you
a
can
pest.
use
Yeah.
because it is that we have an insect on the Cape called chili thrips, CHILLI, thrips,
I love the name,
THRIPS. And how we got this identified was 3 years ago, I noticed that my hydrangea plant, one of my hydrangea plants, started to look brown on the leaves and kind of crinkled.
Yeah, I have that.
Kind of crinkled with almost like the tissues were kind of knitting together, gray and brown.
Got that.
All right? And I thought that first year it was wind damage because we had had a big storm.
Right.
But then the second year I saw the same thing. And last summer I saw the same thing. And not only did I see the same thing on this one plant last summer, it's gotten worse. And I saw it was moving to other plants. So I thought, I have to find out what this is, right? So I sent in samples to the Cooperative Extension at UMass Amherst. And the entomologist there identified it as chili thrips, an insect that has not been known to be in Massachusetts until now. Now,
Where from?
and then the extension agent here, Russ Norton, he sent in samples from similarly damaged plants here on the Cape. Sure enough, chili thrips. This is the first time that this has been identified here. I have seen this damage on other hydrangeas on the Cape.
Okay.
And because it is such a breaking story, the UMass Amherst entomologist, Tawny Szyminski, is interested in getting samples from people who see this on their hydrangeas this summer.
Tawny Szyminski?
So, yes.
What a marvelous name.
Tawny
Tawny
Szyminski.
Szyminski.
That's right.
Send my
So
chili thrift to Tawny Szyminski.
anybody who in July, you won't see the damage until probably in July. But in July, if you see the leaves of your hydrangea kind of crinkling up and turning brown or with some gray webbing,
Okay.
you go to Google and Google entomologist, University of Massachusetts Extension. You'll come up with Tawny Szyminski's name.
We'll put it on the
Send it
show,
in.
yeah.
And they can email her and she'll tell you how to send in samples.
Is there anything we can do?
So, well, yes, there is a fact sheet now. Tawny and Russ Norton here at our Cape Cod Cooperative Extension have put together a fact sheet on chili thrips. And you can go on the UMass Amherst Extension website and find the fact sheet that talks about the various means of control.
Okay.
Is it a bug you can see?
No, you can't see it. It
Yeah.
is so tiny that it's not really visible with the naked eye.
But
So,
it does all that damage.
and it does all that damage to the foliage. Now, the thing is, what we don't know is whether it damages the flowering, because since we have had 2 summers in a row of bad hydrangea flowering,
Right.
I have not been able to tell on this plant that was the first infected whether the damage extends to the flowering or not. It could be that if we have a good hydrangea flowering year, we're going to just be looking at our big, gorgeous hydrangea flowers, and we won't care what the foliage looks
Right.
like, right?
Right.
our attention has been more drawn to foliage in the past couple of years.
Unless you trim your hydrangea into a
Unless you're-
flowerless shrub.
That's right.
If you see the leaves like that and snip them off,
Well, that might do something. The main thing is in the fall, we know that chili thrips overwinters in debris. And so getting rid of the leaves after they fall and bagging it, not putting it in the compost,
right.
that's going to be important for people.
Right.
And last year I made sure to rake up all of my hydrangea leaves and bag them and get rid of them rather than letting them stay around the plant or putting them in the compost pile. So, and there are some both chemical and biological controls that people can use. It's all listed on the fact sheet. So we'll see. Now, this chili thrips, what's unknown about it is whether it will also attack other plants. In other parts of the country, it's an agricultural pest. So we'll see whether they confine themselves to hydrangeas or whether they move on to pepper plants and tomato plants.
Oh, no, not tomatoes.
So, well, that's what I say too.
yeah.
First the
Yeah.
impatiens, now, and then the tomato blight, and now
I know.
hydrangeas.
You
What is
remember
happening?
You remember Rosanna Dana? It's always something.
and it is always
It's
something.
always
Always.
something.
Speaking of hydrangeas, though,
Yes.
I just want to give a shout out to what's going on at our Mashpee TV station. We have new art up in the gallery. A couple months ago, we had Mindy Reasonover on with her beautiful paintings. She and her husband have an opening coming up, and they're going to have their I tell you about the opening, but the show won't be on until after the opening. But come into the TV station anytime. Their pictures, paintings, and figures are going to be here until June. And they have beautiful stuff, but some beautiful pictures of hydrangeas. So notice those on the way out. Any other quick questions for CL? Because I know
Well, I want to
run
put
out
in
of
a plug
time.
for the Hydrangea Festival on
Oh,
Cape
yeah,
Cod.
yeah.
Because it's not just about hydrangeas. The Cape Cod Hydrangea Festival is a festival of open gardens Cape-wide, 10 days in July, beginning on July 7th. And there are gardens open from Woods Hole to Provincetown. It's not too late in April to put your garden on tour and share it.
I'll do that. You're doing yours?
And it's all for the benefit of local nonprofits. Last year, something like over $40,000 was raised for local nonprofits.
That's right.
And so it's a great thing for people to share what they've done in their yard. People love seeing what other people have done in their backyard. And you don't have to have any hydrangeas to be on tour. You just have to have something happening, whether it's a beautiful view, a great fire pit, a wonderful vegetable garden, you know.
Oh, that's great.
Or
Right.
Katuitt Center for the Arts is actually doing hydrangea cocktail for Hydrangea
Perfect.
Fest.
Oh, nice.
So you can even just have the cocktail.
That's
Right.
A garden
Exactly.
crawl.
Right?
All
great.
kinds of museums are doing special events, and all the information about open gardens and business events and nonprofit events
Oh, that's
can be
great.
found at CapeCodHydrangeaFest.com.
I'm going.
Maybe
I
I'll
meant to
get
go last year, but
Mindy to do live hydrangea painting in my garden for the hydrangea.
Wouldn't that be
that
perfect?
would be great.
Great
Yeah,
idea.
how to sign
New
up, I
job
would
for you,
Great
definitely-
Mindy.
I'd love to show up
Yeah.
his garden.
I would, before we go, I just want to show, is this your latest book?
No, that's the next to the latest. Coffee for Roses is the book about common hydrangea myths, and we address a couple hydrangea myths in there, including hydrangea color.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Husband.
so in that book. And the newest book is The Cocktail Hour Garden.
Oh, now we're talking.
And that's about creating an atmosphere, a landscape, an environment in your property for the time of day when we should put aside digital devices and reconnect with each other in the natural world.
I love
Oh,
that.
I love that.
Yeah.
So where can we pick these up?
Both of these books are available at all Cape Cod bookstores
Okay,
and
perfect.
most garden centers as well.
Okay, terrific.
I saw it at Country Gardens the other day.
Good. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so that's great.
right. Yeah.
Okay, well, Seal, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
It is
So,
wonderful to
Thank
have you, and we hope you'll come again. And we're going to see if we can do some taping maybe of this hydrangea show in July.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
That would be great.
Yeah,
I'd
come
love
to my
that.
garden.
I accept.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
please.
Yes,
please.
We'll
bring
that
the
would be
cocktails.
great.
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
Exactly
let's,
Your
let's,
husband will make the cocktails for us. CL, thank you so much for being here. I know that the second this is over, we're all jumping up to ask you other questions, okay? Very excited about our May show coming up. We're going to call it Spring Awakenings and talk more about flowers and how to get ready for summertime, which if you look outside today, you're not sure is really coming. But again, great to see everybody. Thank you again, and happy spring.